In this quick guide, we'll cover all the basics of creating a glass view for use with the SAVI Touchpad 1 or a SAVI Glass device. Provisioning the device itself is a separate process, and the videos covering touchpad and SAVI Glass provisioning are linked in the description below. Please note that your SAVI server does need to be on SAVI version 3.5 or later in order to use these features. Here's an overview of what we'll be covering, as well as a preview of the glass view I'll be making. I have a Rockbot widget, my bar's audio zone, bar lights, and a macro to turn off the bar audio. I also have a second page with a widget that pushes a source to a group of displays, a widget to control all the displays themselves, and 2 macros. To get started, navigate to the System Control section within Creator and click Add New Glass View. Give it a name and then choose which type of device the glass view is for. I'll be making this glass view for the Touchpad 1, but if you're using your own tablet with SAVI Glass, you choose that option here. This is the glass view editor. On the right is a preview of the title screen. This is the default screen that loads first if it's enabled. On the left we have general settings. These all apply to either the title screen or the glass view as a whole. The role selection determines what devices can be controlled in a glass view. The default role is SAVI Administrator, which means it'll have full access to all devices in the project. But if you'd like to limit the devices available, you can choose a specific role. For the wallpaper, you have the choice of either using the default image, which is currently showing in our example, a solid color of your choice, or using your own image by hitting Browse and uploading it from your computer. The logo is an optional image that will appear on the title screen as well as in the top left corner of each page within the glass view. When I enable it, the logo replaces the title on the title screen. The rest of these settings relate to the title screen itself. You can choose how long the screen will stay on before timing out, as well as setting a 4-digit access PIN. Once these settings are configured, we can click the plus button here to create the first page for our glass view. After naming this page, I'll start by making my audio zone widget. Note how I clicked the space I wanted the new widget to appear in, then chose the audio zone type, selected the bar audio zone, and lastly renamed the widget to bar audio. Keep in mind you can select multiple endpoints in a single widget. This is useful if you're wanting to send the same commands to multiple endpoints of the same type at once. I can also change the icon for most widgets as well as the size and shape. Creating other widgets works in a similar way. You can choose a space, create the widget, and then configure it. Make sure to hit save periodically to avoid losing any work, though Creator will warn you if you attempt to navigate away without saving. Also note that you can drag the widgets around if you want to change their position. A red or orange highlight tells us there's an overlap, which needs to be moved before we can hit save. This page is done, but there's a few more widgets I'd like to include, so I'll create a second page for them. I'll just hit the Add Page button again and add a source widget, selecting Roku 1. I'll select all my bar displays in this dropdown, so Roku 1 will play in the source region for all my bar displays. Any displays without a source region in the layout will simply ignore the command. Now I'll create another widget, choose Display, and select all my bar displays. This will work in a similar way, but allows the user to choose from the entire list of sources, as well as change layouts. Lastly, I'll add 2 macros, one to launch happy hour, and another to reset everything in the bar. If these macros aren't made yet, you can hit Save and jump to the macro section to create them. With this macro still selected, I'll hit Duplicate and then change the macro, label, and the icon. Note that you can rearrange the page order by clicking on these arrows if needed. Once your glass view is complete, you can test it on one of your touchpads if it's been provisioned. However, we do have the preview option here. Click the eye to open a preview of the glass view in a new tab. This way you can get a feel for how it'll work and tweak the view before actually deploying it to a physical device. If I click the title screen, you can see the first page will load. You can see my Rockbot info and the album art is coming through. If I click here, the Rockbot modal opens with some additional info including upcoming tracks. For the audio, I can see the current source at the top, while the rest of the modal contains volume preset buttons and a volume slider. Swiping to the left opens the list of sources, which I can choose from. For lights, I have a brightness slider and the 3 most recent colors on the first page. If I swipe left, the standard colors appear as well as whatever custom colors have been created in Facility View. For any macros, simply pressing them will launch the macro. Now I'll access the second page by clicking and swiping to the left, just as I would swipe while using the touchpad itself. The source widget works similar to a macro in that touching it sends the source to the displays. Opening the display widget, however, gives me several options. The top half is simply a preview of the current layout, whereas all my sources available to these displays are listed here for me to choose from. If I swipe to the left here, I can make layout changes as well. Keep in mind, this widget is set to control all the bar displays as a group. I could also create a third page with more widgets to control just some or even individual bar displays for more precise control. You should be ready to start creating and using glass views. Keep in mind this was just a brief overview of the main glass view features. There are 13 widget types in total, each with different sizes and customization options. Feel free to get creative with them and be sure to get feedback from customers about their most common use cases and other preferences. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more SAVI training videos.